So, my dear students, now today we are going to start with the kinetic stability by using the CFT theory, that is a crystal field theory. So now in the last class, I told you about the thermodynamic stability and the kinetic stability, and I explained you about the particularly the kinetic stability by using the VBT theory. And now today, so today now we are going to discuss about the kinetic stability by using the CFT theory. By using the CFT theory. CFT theory. So let us understand the CFT theory. So now I already told you about the thermodynamic stability and the kinetic stability. So here the kinetic stability, it includes the reactivity of a particular complex. So let us take a substitution reactions like Ml6 when it is reacting with Y, which is a whatever the coming ligand, incoming ligand. So it will substitute this particular ligand and you will get Ml5 and you will get Y, and now the whatever the ligand which is replaced, so that means here Y is the ligand which is the incoming ligand which is replaced with this L. So this Y is substituting over this particular ligand. So this is a substitution reaction. Now here the labile complex or inert complex, so that is depend on the VBT theory and the CFT theory. Now we will understand by using the CFT theory. So how can we explain by using the CFT theory? So let us understand the CFT theory. So here the kinetic stability, here the kinetic stability. So actually this kinetic stability is, that is a two types, that is a labile and inert. Labile and inert. So how can we explain this labile and inertness of a particular complex or a substitution reaction? So here you have to understand the crystal field stabilizing crystal field stabilizing energy, which is a term in the CFT theory. That is a crystal field stabilizing energy. So here you have to understand that the kinetic stability are labile or inert. So that is actually depends on two ways. That is the activation energy. That is activation energy. So that is I already told you in the previous session. After that, I can explain this particular kinetic stability by using VBT theory. But VBT theory has certain limits. So it is having certain drawbacks, certain limitations. No, now we will discuss the CFT theory to explain a particular labile or inertness of a particular complex. So let us understand the CFT theory. So this particular CFT theory you have already seen in your earlier classes. That is a crystal field stabilizing diagram, that is for the octahedral and tetrahedral. And you know that the crystal field for the octahedral splitting diagram will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can write the crystal field splitting diagram will be like this. And this is the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral. So if you want to write for the tetrahedral, if you want to draw for the tetrahedral, and then you will get the diagram will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you will get the diagram like this. You will get the diagram like this. So these are dz square arbiter, dx square y square arbiter, and this is again dxy, dyz, and dzx. And here these are similarly as dx square y square and dz square, and these are simply dxy, dyz, and dzx. So this is the crystal field stabilizing energy, crystal field splitting diagrams for the both octahedral, tetrahedral. Now we now in this lecture we have to calculate the CFSE values so that we can easily understand a particular lability or inertness of a particular complex. So let us understand the CFT theory and the CFSE calculation here. So what is the exact structure of octahedral? So let us see the octahedral structure here. See this octahedral particular structure. So this is the octahedral structure. See here, there are 6 ligands are there. Metal is coordinated with 6 ligands. So this is not particularly the coordination complex. Just you have to see the geometry of the particular complex. So very simple. It is a square plane here, and there is a upper one ligand and lower one ligand. So whatever this upper and lower ligand, these two are called axial ligands. Axial ligands, and this is also axial ligands. And whatever these four, they are called equatorial ligands. Equatorial ligands. Now see here, this is the octahedral structure here. And you see here, this is the tetrahedral structure. So tetrahedral, you will get 4 faces here, and you will get 6 faces here. Sorry, 8 faces here. The octahedral, you can see them. This is a one particular face. This is also one. This side and the back side of this, you will get fourth face. And here downward also, you will get 4 faces. Totally, you will get 8 triangular faces. Hence, it is called octahedral structure. And this particular octahedral structure, you have to understand the crystal field stabilizing energy here. And for the crystal field splitting diagram, you have to know about the d orbital structure. So exactly the d orbital structure will be like this. See here, the the d orbital structure here. So these are the 5d orbitals here. You know that 5d orbitals. So what are the 5d orbitals here? So generally 5d orbitals like this. So these 5d orbitals, they are having the names like this, that is dxy, dyz, dxz or dzx. And the next one, this is d d square and dx square os. These are the 5 orbitals here. And the shape of them is like this. So see here dz square and dx square y square. These two are completely different. And see the difference between these three things. So dxy, dyz, and dzx. See here the difference between these three things here. So first, let us understand this dxy, dyz, and dzx or dxz. And this is dxy, and this is dyz, and this is a dzx. See here, if you draw this coordination axis, that is x, y, z. So whatever the lobes, they are in between the axis here. See here, this is the this is yz orbital. So it is a y, and this is a particularly z axis. This is z axis, and this is y axis. And you can see here these orbitals here. This is the z and this is y. And this the lobe of a particular dyz orbital, it is in between the axis, in between the axis here. So that is here very important thing you have to know here. So the lobe is in between the axis here. So see here again, here also it is a dxz. So this is the z axis and this is the x axis. See here, this is exactly in between the z and x axis, in between the z and x axis. If you can take this xy, that is yx. So here also exactly the lobe which is in between the axis. So see here yx, in between the axis, in between the axis, in between the axis. So the lobe of a particular dxy, dyz, dzx, all the three orbitals, so they are the lobes of them are completely in between the axis. And see here, let us take the dz square and dx square y square and see these two things here. So here the dz square and dx square y square, see the lobes of them are completely along the axis, along the axis. So you can see here, this is the x axis and this is the y axis. See here that the lobe is completely along the axis. So the lobe is completely along the axis, that is the x axis and y axis. Hence the name itself, which is dx square y square here. But in case of this, the dz square also, this is the z axis here. So it is also along the axis and there is a central lobe here, that is a dz square orbital. You know all these things you have already studied in your earlier classes. But now we will see the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral and the tetrahedral. So you have to understand that. So whenever in case of the octahedral complex, the structure will be like this. M, this is L, L, and L, and L. So see, this is another L, this is another L. See the structure of this. This is the octahedral structure. So if you want to try to write the particular axis, the coordination axis, so you can write the particular coordination axis here. How can you write here? So this is the x-axis. So this is the x-axis here, and this is the y-axis here. Sorry. So this is the y-axis here, and this is again z-axis. So you can observe that the ligands are completely along the axis. So ligands are completely along the axis. So once again, I will draw for you the octahedral. So see one thing here. So this is a metal, and there is a 4 ligands are there. Ligand, ligand, and ligand. This is completely square plane here. And there are other upper one ligand and lower one ligand. So if you want to draw the coordination axis here, so how can you write the coordination axis here? So see, you can write the coordination axis like this. So you can write the coordination axis here. This is x-axis. And also you can write the coordination axis. So you can also write the coordination axis. This is y-axis. And this is Z axis. See, all the ligands are approaching to the metal along the axis, along the axis. So this particular metal will have certain orbitals. It is having particular orbital. So this metal is having certain orbitals like this. Some of the orbitals are in between the axis, and some of the orbitals are along the axis, like dz square and dx square y square. So there are you have to understand that d orbital is having 5 suborbitals as dxy, dyz, and dzx, and dz square, and dx square y square. But here the ligand is approaching to the metal along the axis here. But whatever the orbitals, the lobes of them are completely. Some of the orbitals are along the axis, and some of the orbitals are in between the axis. And you can see here, this is the completely along the axis. This is the along the axis. But these three here, this one and this one, these three, so they are in between the axis here. So let us understand once again here. So let us draw this again. So let us draw this diagram again. So I will draw this particular the ligand again, that is metal, and it is a ligand. 6 ligands are there. Ligand, ligand, and this is another ligand. This is the ligand here, and this is a square plane here. This is a square plane, and you can write the axis here. You can draw the axis here like this. So this is the z axis, and this is the x axis. This is the z axis, and you can write this. So I will write with different colors so you can easily understand them. So let us take this is a, so this blue color which is x axis. So you can write with this is, and see here this orange color which is y axis. And you can see this pink color which is z axis. Z axis. So the blue color which is x axis. Now we are having 3 orbitals, that is dxy, dzx, or dyz. So these 3 orbitals, they are in between the axis. In between the axis. Their lobes are in between the axis. It means that, so if you want to write the metal coordination axis like this, so this is a metal, and you can write the coordination axis like this. And this is x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. So let us remove the z-axis. So first we will write only x-axis. So let us understand, if you can write this as like this. So this is a central metal, and this is x-axis, and this is y-axis. So if a particular orbital which is dxy, it means that, so the orbital exactly it will be like this. So the orbital actually it is present like this in between the axis. So the dxy orbital will be like this. So the lobe of this particular dxy orbital will be like this. So it means that the electron density of this particular orbital, it lies in between the axis. The electrons will be present here in the lobes of this particular orbital here. So see here, the lobes are present in between the axis. So through this particular lobes, the electron cloud will exist here. So all the electrons will be present through this particular lobes here. So this is the dxy orbital here. So here the ligands are also along the axis. And see here the dxy, dyz, dzx, these 3 are, the lobes are in between the axis. Now let us write again dx square y square. So dx square y square. So this is the orbital. This is not along the, so this is not in between the axis. This is completely in between the, sorry, along the axis. So if you draw this particular diagram, this is x axis and this is y axis, and you can write the dx square y square. The structure will be like this, completely along the axis like this, along the axis. So the electron, the cloud will be present along the axis. So there are 2 types of orbitals here. One is in between the axis, the electron cloud which is in between the axis. But here in the second case, which is along the axis. So what happens here? Now all the 6 ligands, see here, the 6 ligands are approaching to the metal along the axis. along the axis here. So all the 6 ligands, they are approaching towards to metal. All the ligands are approaching to the metal along the axis. But here in the metal, there are 5 types of orbital, 5 different orbitals. In those 5 orbitals, there are again 2 types of orbitals here. So one of the type which is dxy, yz and zx, the lobes, the electron cloud is in between the axis here. These 3 are there. And in case of the dx square, y square and dz square, the completely the lobes are along the axis. The electron cloud is present along the axis, along the axis. Now see what happens here. So whenever this ligand, so now you know that particularly metal is linked with a ligand. So nothing but this ligand must donate its lone pair of electron to the central metal ion. So whatever the ligand, it will come with their lone pair of electrons. అంటే ligand అంటే lone pair of electrons తీసుకొని వస్తుంది, తీసుకొని ఈ మెటల్ కి ఇస్తుంది. So this ligand is donating its lone pair of electrons. So see here, this ligand is donating its lone pair of electrons. So here also the ligand is donating its lone pair of electrons. So each ligand will react with this metal. Each ligand is donating its lone pair of electron to the central metal ion because of the vacancy in their d orbitals here. Now the question here is that the metal also is having certain electrons. So metal, if you can take the metal, you can take any example like iron, cobalt complex. So whatever the complex, each metal is having different electrons here. So you can take the iron. So iron, what is the atomic number? That is 26. So iron will have the 26 electrons are there. So in the 26 electrons are present in the iron metal. So in that way, every metal will also have certain amount of electrons here. So metal is also having the electrons. Metal is also having the electrons. And even this ligand is also donating its electrons. So the electrons present in the metal, and the electrons of this ligand will go repulsion with each other. అంటే ligand metal కి డొనేట్ చేస్తుంది. మెటల్ దగ్గర కూడా కొన్ని ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాయి అంటే it depends on orbital. It depends on orbital here. So here you have to understand that ligand is donating its one pair of electron. Even metal is also having certain amount of electron. మెటల్ లో కూడా ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఉంటాయి. లిగాండ్ కూడా ఎలక్ట్రాన్ డొనేట్ చేస్తుంది. సో మెటల్ లో ఉండే ఎలక్ట్రాన్, లిగాండ్ డొనేట్ చేసే ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్, బోత్ దే కెన్ కమ్ టుగెదర్ అండ్ దే విల్ గో రిపల్షన్ విత్ ఈచ్ అదర్. సో మొత్తం కలిసి రెండు రిపల్షన్ వచ్చాయి. సో రిపల్షన్ రావడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది? సో ద ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ సిస్టమ్ will increases. So here you have to understand that the repulsion, so repulsion it means that, so here whenever this ligand is coming like this, so see here, if a particular orbital, that is dx square y square, so let us see here. So this ligand is coming like this. This ligand is donating, it is lone pair of electron along the axis, but even metal is also having the lone pair of electron. So let us understand, I will take a particular ligand which is coming like this. So which is coming like this, the ligand, and there is an orbital which is dx square y square. The shape will be like this. The shape will be like this. So this ligand, the electrons will be like this. So ligand is also coming in this way. Ligand అలానే వస్తుంది, దాని ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ అక్కడే ఉన్నాయి, అదే ఆర్బిటాల్ లో ఉన్నాయి. సో ఇవి రెండు రావడం వల్ల వీటి ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్, so whatever these electrons and this ligand electrons and this metal electrons, they will come together and they will go repulsion with each other. So రెండు ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ వచ్చేసరికి ఒకటే దగ్గరకు వచ్చేసరికి రిపల్షన్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది. సో రిపల్షన్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది. సో అది ఎక్కడ, అది ఏ కేసులో? దట్ ఈస్ dx square y square. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఆర్ ప్రెసెంట్ ఆన్ along the axis, ఏవైతే లోబ్స్ ఉన్నాయో అవి మాత్రమే రిపల్షన్ అవుతున్నాయి. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఇన్ బిట్వీన్ ద యాక్సిస్, సో I will draw the two concepts here. So let us write those two, metal, and this is also metal, and see here. So see here. So I will write those two orbitals here. So let us write, this is the, so this is dxy orbital. So this is dxy orbital. So this is x-axis, this is x-axis, and this is y-axis, and that is a z-axis. Now here I will write again the in between the axis, here. So in between the axis here. So that is, you can easily understand this in between the axis here. So in between the axis means, let us write this is x-axis and this is y-axis. And here the particular orbital, this is called dxy orbital. And here this is called dx square y square. Because the whatever the axis here we have taken, those are x-axis and y-axis. Now let us see, let us understand here. So the metal is having certain 6 ligand. Metal is coordinated with 6 ligand. So these 6 ligands are approaching like this. So ligand is coming in this way. Ligand always come along the axis. So ligand always come along the axis. So because the ligand is having the whatever the geometry of this particular complex, which is octahedral. So the ligands must be along the axis like this. So the ligands must be along the axis. So remember this. So whatever the ligands, they are coming along the axis. So this is the first case. This is the first case about the dx square y square, and this is the second case, which is dxy here. So now you can easily understand that again here also the ligand is coming with their electrons here, and here also this ligand is coming with electrons here. So what happens? So the electrons are present in this particular lobe. So they will go repulsion with each other. So they will go repulsion with each other. And see here, the electrons are, there is no electrons are present along the axis, but there are also the electrons present in between the axis. But the ligand is coming along the axis. So you can easily understand that here the electrons are present like this. So electrons are coming like this. And here electrons are present in between the axis. So ఈ రెండింటికి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి అంటే ఇక్కడ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా లిగాండ్స్ అలానే వస్తున్నాయి, దీని దగ్గర ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ కూడా అలానే ఉన్నాయి. సో దే విల్ గో దే విల్ గో రిపల్షన్ విత్ ఈచ్ అదర్. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఈ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ నెగిటివ్ చార్జే, ఈ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ కూడా నెగిటివ్ చార్జే. సో రెండు వచ్చి రెండు గుద్దుకొని మనకు ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అనేది రిపల్షన్ జరుగుతుంది. సో రిపల్షన్ జరిగితే ఏమైతుంది అనేది నెక్స్ట్ థింగ్. బట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ రిపల్షన్ బిట్వీన్ ద నెగిటివ్ చార్జ్ of a metal, that is the electrons of metal and the electrons of the ligand. Even in case of the second case, that is dxy orbital, so it is also, it can also show the repulsion here. It can also show the repulsion here, but you have to understand that. So here the repulsion is very less comparing with the first case. So here you will get the repulsion which is very less comparing with the first case. See here the electrons are exactly coming along the axis, exactly coming along the axis here. So that is the important thing here. So exactly see here the ligand is coming along the axis. So even electrons are along the axis. So it will show high repulsion. It will show higher repulsion. So electrons కుట్టుకొని ఎక్కువ repulsion అవుతుంది. So repulsion అయితే ఏమవుతుందనే చూద్దాం. But you have to understand that. So here the electrons are coming along the axis, but the metal is having the electrons in between the axis. So here also you will get the repulsion, but you will get low repulsion. So you will get low repulsion here. So the low repulsion, whatever the orbitals which are dxy, dyz and dzx. So these three particular orbitals here, they are completely, they will go with less repulsion. So less repulsion ఎందుకు వస్తుంది అంటే they are orbitals, the lobes of them, the electron cloud is completely in between the axis, but the ligands are approaching along the axis. So there is a small distance between these lobes and the whatever the approaching the axis here. So hence the repulsion is very less comparing with the along the axis, that is a dx square y square, and even with the dz square here also. So dz square and dx square y square, these two orbitals, they will show with high repulsion. So they will get high repulsion comparing with this. So they will get less repulsion here because the electron cloud is in between the axis. అంటే ఇటు నుంచి ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి, ఇటు మధ్యలో ఉన్న ఎలక్ట్రాన్, ఇవి కూడా రిపల్షన్ ఉంటుంది కానీ కొంచెం తక్కువ కంపేర్ చేస్తే. సో లెట్ us draw the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral. So once again I'm telling you dx square y square and dz square orbital, these two orbitals can undergo high repulsion. So they will exist with high repulsion. And in case of the dxy, dyz and dzx, so they will undergo with less repulsion. So what is the reason here? Because this dx square y square, the lobes of them are completely along the axis. Those lobes are completely along the axis, but these three lobes are in between the axis, here. So always the ligands are come along the axis, so they will show with high repulsion comparing with this. So let us draw that particular diagram here. So first you have to understand that here this particular metal is the x-axis like this, So this is a low, and this ligand is also coming, and it will show the repulsion here. So what happens if it is the repulsion here? So whenever the repulsion is there, so that means the bond, whatever the bond distance here, so whatever the bond length completely decreases here. So that means you can easily understand that with repulsion, the energy will be increases. Energy will be increases here. So how here it is increasing the energy here? So how here particularly the energy is increasing here? So let us write if it is attraction here. So energy will decreases. Energy will decreases here. Energy will decreases in case of the attraction. Energy will increases in case of the repulsion here. So you know that particularly whenever it is a low energy, it means that is a stable. So whenever it is a high energy, that is unstable. Now see here. So with the repulsion, generally the energy will increases here. So with the repulsion, so the energy will increases, and with the attraction, generally the energy decreases here. So that you can easily understand this. How can we explain this attraction and the repulsion? So see here, let us take A and B. So to break this particular bond, we need certain amount of energy. So energy is required. Energy is required, that is positive here. So energy is required here. That means we are adding here. So we are adding energy. So the energy will be increases to the system. సో ఏబిని బ్రేక్ చేయడానికి మనం ఎనర్జీ ఇస్తేనే అది బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది. సో లోపలప్పుడు ఎనర్జీ ఏమవుతుంది, ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో బ్రేక్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ డిస్టెన్స్ ఏమవుతుంది, ఈ డిస్టెన్స్ ఏ ఇటు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, బి ఇటు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో ద డిస్టెన్స్ విల్ ఇంక్రీజెస్ హియర్. So that is with the energy in case of the breaking here. So let us write the opposite of this. So here let us write the opposite of this. So here we are making the bond. We are making the bond here. We are making, but here we are breaking here. So here energy is not required. Here the energy is released. Energy is released. So generally energy is released. So release means that is a negative, because the energy is decreasing here. Released nothing but energy మొత్తం బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతే energy which is decreased here. But here the energy which is required, so we are adding certain amount of energy, so the energy is increased here. So break అవుతున్నప్పుడు బాండ్ మనకు బ్రేక్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు దూరం వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో హియర్ which possess the long distance here. సో డిస్టెన్స్ పెరుగుతున్న కొద్దీ చూడండి, బ్రేక్ చేస్తున్నాం, బ్రేక్ చేసి లాంగ్ డిస్టెన్స్ కి తీసుకొస్తున్నాం. అలా కావాలంటే మనం బ్రేక్ చేయడానికి మనం ఎనర్జీ సప్లై చేస్తాం. సో ద ఎనర్జీ మస్ట్ బి అబ్జర్వ్డ్ బై ద సిస్టమ్. సో ద ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ద సిస్టమ్ విల్ ఇంక్రీజెస్ హియర్. సో ద ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ద సిస్టమ్ విచ్ ఈస్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఇంక్రీస్డ్ హియర్. సో ద ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ద సిస్టమ్ విచ్ ఈస్ ఇంక్రీస్డ్ హియర్. బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ద సెకండ్ కేస్, హియర్ ఏబి ద బాండ్ హియర్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు మేక్ దెమ్. సో రెండింటిని ఒక దగ్గరికి తీసుకురావాలి. సో ఇక్కడ మనం విడగొట్టడానికి ఎనర్జీ మనం ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది, బట్ అవి కలపడానికి ఏం అవసరం. అవి కలిసి, అవి రెండు ఏబి కలిసింది ఒక బాండ్ ఫామ్ అయింది అంటే హియర్ ద ఎనర్జీ విల్ రిలీజ్డ్ అవుట్. ఎనర్జీ మొత్తం బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో ఎనర్జీ రిలీజ్డ్ అవుట్. సో యూ కెన్ సే దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఎగ్జోథర్మిక్ రియాక్షన్. సో లెట్ us write this is the exothermic reaction and this is the endothermic reaction, because energy here it is absorbed here, but here the energy is not absorbed here, here released out. Energy is released out here, బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. రెండు కలిసినప్పుడు మనకు ఎనర్జీ అనేది బయటికి రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఇక్కడ తగ్గిపోతుంది. సో ఎనర్జీ విల్ డిక్రీజెస్ హియర్. నౌ హియర్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దాట్. సో ద ఎనర్జీ బ్రేక్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, దూరం వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో దీన్నే ఈ ఫస్ట్ ఏదైతే పైన రాసిందో, ఈ పైన మొత్తం ఇట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఈక్వల్ టు రిపల్షన్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు రిపల్షన్ అండ్ దిస్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు అట్రాక్షన్ హియర్. సో యూ కెన్ ఈజీలీ అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్ థింగ్. సో రిపల్షన్ అంటేనే దూరం దూరం వెళ్ళడం, బాండ్ బ్రేక్ చేయడం. సో బ్రేక్ చేయడానికి మనం ఎనర్జీ ఇస్తాం, సో ఎనర్జీ అబ్జర్వ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఎనర్జీ ఆ సిస్టమ్ కి ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఫర్ ద మేకింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఏ బాండ్, తయారు చేసినప్పుడు, కలిపినప్పుడు అట్రాక్షన్ చేసినప్పుడు దగ్గరికి తీసుకొచ్చినప్పుడు ఎనర్జీ విల్ రిలీజ్డ్ అవుట్, దట్ ఈస్ exothermic reaction. So you will get the energy will completely decreases here. Now in the same case, so in case of the octahedral complexes, the repulsion is there with the dx square y square and dz square orbital. So they will undergo repulsion with the electrons of the ligand here. So these are the metal orbitals. These are particularly orbitals of the metal, and the electrons present in this particular orbital is repulsive with the electrons of the ligand. So the energy of the system will increases here. So let us draw those particular curves here. So again I will write. So let us write the orbitals of them. So let us write 1 2 3 4 5. So let us take, this is the dxy, dyz and dzx, and this is the dx square y square and dz square. See the orbitals of this. So actually there is no ligand first, only free metal ion is there. This is the free metal ion, free metal ion. So what happens here, the energy of the system which is fixed here for all the orbitals, the energy is exactly equal here. So the energy of the metal is completely degenerate here. That means the energy is completely equal for each orbital, that is dxy, dyz, dzx, and even with dx square y square and dz square here. So ఐదు ఆర్బిటాలకు కూడా ఈక్వల్ ఎనర్జీ ఉంటుంది. బట్ వెనెవర్ వీఆర్ ఇంటరాక్టింగ్ విత్ ఎ లిగాండ్, సో మెటల్ ఫ్రీగా ఉన్నప్పుడు, మెటల్ M+2 అనే ఛార్జ్ ఉంది, సో దీనికి డి ఆర్బిటాల్స్ ఫ్రీగా ఉన్నాయి, సో అవి హ్యాపీగా ఉన్నాయి ఎందుకంటే దాని ఎనర్జీ ఈక్వల్ గా ఉంది. But whenever a ligand is approaching towards to metal, so whenever the ligand is approached, sorry, the metal is approached with a ligand here. So that means ligands are approaching towards to metal. So metal దగ్గరికి వస్తున్నాయి, the ligands are approached towards to metal. So what happens here? So whenever the ligands are approached towards to metal, so let us understand here. So there is a metal again. So there is a metal, and see the ligands are like this. And this is the orbitals of dxy. So see, this is the orbital of dxy, and the ligand is coming like this. So the ligand is coming with the lone pair of electron. Even this metal is also having the lone pair of electron. So it will undergo the repulsion like this. So it will undergo the repulsion like this. So whenever the repulsion, the energy will increases here. So just now only I told you with the repulsion and the attraction here. So whenever it is a repulsion, the energy will increase. If it is attraction, then the energy will decreases here. So the energy of the system will completely increases like this. So it will increase like this. So see here, the increase like this. So actually the total system, so total system, the energy will increases. But here there are two types of orbitals here. So that is dxy yz, xy, dyz and dzx, and the remaining two which is dz square and dx square y square. And these two particular orbital, they will show with high repulsion. They will show with high repulsion. But in case of these three, they will show which is very less repulsion. They will also undergo the repulsion, but with very less here, because the orbitals are completely in between the axis. So once again, I will tell you, see here, this is a metal, and this metal is having the ligands like this. Sorry, metal. So let us write the orbitals like this. So this is a, so let us try to draw first along the axis like this, along the axis. So see here, this is the dx square y square orbital, and if it is dz square or dxy, let us write dxy here. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So the orbital which is in between the axis here, orbital which is in between the axis here. So the ligand is completely along the axis here. The ligand will come in this direction, in this direction. So here also the ligand will come in this direction. Ligand will come in this direction. See what happens here, the electrons are present in this direction. So there is a huge repulsion between here. So here also you will get the repulsion. Here also you will get repulsion. Here also you will get repulsion. So that is the high repulsion. So that is in case of the dx square y square, even with the dz square here. But here, see here, the electrons are present here. electrons are present here, the lobe C here. But see here, the whatever the ligand, it is coming along the axis. So it is coming along the axis here. So see here, so the electrons of the ligand are like this. So the electrons will be like this, but it will also show the repulsion, but which is less comparing with the dx square y square. ఇవి కూడా రిపల్షన్ ఉంటుంది, ఎందుకంటే దీని ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ అయినా లిగాండ్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ అయినా ఇక్కడ కూడా రిపల్షన్ ఖచ్చితంగా ఉంటుంది. ఈ లిగాండ్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ అయినా ఈవెన్ ద ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ they will show with repulsion, but with very less repulsion, but with the here which is high repulsion here. So you know that repulsion antene energy increase avadam, high repulsion ante energy baga increase avadam, so less repulsion ante energy konchame increase avadam. So energy of this particular dxy dz square, the energy will increases very high. But in case of the dx square dxy dyz and dzx, these three orbitals, the energy will increase it, but which is very less, konchame increase aitadi endukante repulsion takkuva undi kabatti. So you can see those diagram also, I already show you those diagrams also. See this particular diagram, so you can easily understand them. So see here, that ligand dz square orbital which is completely along the axis. See, this is also, see, this is are completely along the axis. But see here, dxy, dyz and dzx, they are in between the axis like this. This is y axis, this is x axis. See here, in between the axis. So see here also, you can see here, this is y axis and this is the z axis. dyz in between the axis. So this is also xz. So this is x axis and the z axis in between the axis here. So these three are the in between the axis, but these two are along the axis. So you can easily see here, along the axis, along the axis. So along the axis, whatever the along the axis, they will show with high repulsion. They will show with high repulsion. But whatever the in between the axis, they will show with less repulsion. But moreover, all the orbitals of metal, they must undergo repulsion. So they must go with repulsion with the electrons of the ligand. So see here what happened. So whenever if you write the orbital, the crystal field orbital, so you will get the orbital like this. So crystal field splitting diagram will be like this. So let's draw the orbital like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here the orbitals are having exactly the same energy, hence they are called degenerate orbital. So why they are called degenerate orbital? Because of the same energy without the ligand here. There is no ligand here. But after some time, whenever the ligand is approaching towards the metal, this orbital, the degeneracy will be completely lost here. So the degeneracy will split. అంటే ఎనర్జీ సేమ్ ఉన్నది విడిపోయి ఎనర్జీ ఎక్కువ తక్కువ వస్తుంది. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద టూ ఆర్బిటాల్స్ దే విల్ గో లైక్ దిస్. సో బాగా ఎనర్జీ పెరిగిపోతుంది ఇలా. అండ్ అగైన్ ద ఎనర్జీ ఆఫ్ ద this is dx square y square and dz square here, and this is dxy dyz and dzx. So see here, this is very high repulsion and this is with very low repulsion. So you can easily understand this. So here why it is a low repulsion? Because the lobes, the electron cloud is in between the axis here. But here in case of the dx square y square, they are completely along the axis. Even the ligands are also approaching to the metal along the axis. Then it will show high repulsion. So renditi oka energy kuda increase avutundi. So both the energy will increases here. So here also the energy of the metal which is here. Here also it is increasing, but here also it is increasing. But in case of this dx square y square and dz square, so they will show with high repulsion. They will increase their energy with very high here. So if you draw the average of this, if you say the average of energy of these two, so like the average will be in between like this. So let us draw average of them. So if you draw the average of them, you will get like this. So the average of them, so in between whatever the axis, so which is called the barycenter here, barycenter. So let us again draw it clearly. So So you can easily understand this barycenter and all those things here. So I will draw this diagram like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One, two, 1, 2. So here the energy will increases like this. So this is the energy axis here. So let us try to draw. This is the energy axis. And see here the orbitals here. So these are completely degenerate here. Degenerate nothing but equal energy. And these are the energy will increases here. Actually, the energy is completely increased like this. So these two orbitals, that is dx square y square and dz square here. But these three here, that these are dxy, dyz, and dzx. These three orbitals like this. So actually, the energy of them, which is completely increased here because of the repulsion with the electrons of the ligand. But here, these two particular orbital, they will show with high repulsion, but these three orbitals, they will show with less repulsion here. And this is the average of this particular energy here. So this is the average of them. And the energy difference this, and this is called the barycenter. This is called the barycenter, and the energy between this is exactly plus 0.6. And this is exactly 0.4 delta naught, the symbol, the unit which is delta naught. So you can easily understand this. So this energy of this, I can also call it as a 6 dq plus 6 dq, and this is called minus 4 dq. I can write this as minus 4 dq, nothing but 10 delta naught, 10 delta naught, which is equal to 1 dq. 1 dq. So very simple here, or you can write, if you can say, sorry, this is not 10, this is 0.1, then only you will get 10. This is not 10 delta naught. So you can write as 0.1 delta naught, which is equal to 1 dq here. Or you can write, if you write 1 delta naught, then it is equal to 10 dq here, like this. So here 0.6 is there, then multiply with 10 and you will get simply 6 dq here. But here minus 4 is there, that is minus 4 dq here. This is plus and minus. So actually the plus and minus, these are simply signs here. The symbol plus and minus here nothing but the energy increase and the energy is decrease. So that is only the simple. So that is plus 6 and minus 4. So this is the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral complex. So octahedral complex. And the two orbitals, this is dx square y square and dz square. These two orbitals actually called Eg orbitals. So it has given a name which is Eg orbital, and these three are called T2G orbitals by Mulliken. Mulliken gave a symbols for these two types of orbital, that is Eg orbital, and the second one which is TTG orbitals here. So here that Eg and T2G. So remember that Eg always along the axis, that is dx square y square and dz square here. And if it is T2G, then that is dxy, dyz and dzx, that is in between the axis. The lobes are present in between the axis. So this is completely the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral complex. So here you have to understand that. So here the CFT theory, By using the CFT theory, we can calculate the CFSE value. So that is crystal field stabilizing energy. Crystal field stabilizing energy, that is CFSE. If the CFSE value is increased, so let us write the CFSE again. The CFSE, if this value is increased, then the stability of a particular complex will increases here. Stability of complex will increases here. So see here, the CFSE value. So in that word which is crystal field stabilizing energy here. Crystal field stabilizing energy here. So that means that the energy which must stabilize the complex here. So CFSE అంటేనే కాంప్లెక్స్ ని స్టెబిలైజ్ చేయడానికి CFSE. And how to calculate the CFSE value, that is crystal field stabilizing energy? How can you calculate this? So we can calculate this crystal field stabilizing energy by a particular formula here. So I will write the formula also. So I will write the formula also. So the formula is very simple. That is CFSE. This is nothing but 0.6 into electrons in EG, electrons in EG orbital, minus 0.4 into electrons in T2G orbitals, in T2G orbital. So finally you will get CFSE value. So you will get the value whatever may be. So let us try one thing here. Let us calculate one here. So let us take it is let us take it is a D3. Let us take it is D3. So this is 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So here the T2G is having 3 electrons, and EG orbitals, there is no electrons present in the EG orbital. So that is 0.6 into 0 minus 0.4 into 3 electrons are present in T2G orbital. So you will get 0.6 into 0, 0 minus 0.4 into 3, that is 0.4 into 3. So you will get 1.2. So finally you will get 1.2 delta naught value here. So 1 minus 1.2, I can write this as minus 12 dq. I can write this as a minus 12 dq also. So this is a CFSE calculation for the octahedral complex. So this is the CFSE calculation for the octahedral complex here. So this is completely about the splitting, crystal field splitting diagram and crystal field stabilizing energy for the octahedral complex. So you can also try to calculate the CFSE for the tetrahedral also. So the tetrahedral, the crystal field splitting diagram is completely different. So the diagram will be completely different. So we can also try to draw the particular crystal field splitting diagram for the tetrahedral. So I will show you the diagram for the tetrahedral also. Let us try to draw the crystal field stabilizing for the tetrahedral also. So we will write the crystal field stabilizing energy for the splitting pattern for the tetrahedral. So see here, you will get the diagram will be like this. And you will get the diagram will be like this. So here EG downwards here and T2 which is upward here. And here the symbol actually you should use only T2, and here also you have to use only E. You have to use only E here. So this is also again same, that is dx square y square and dz square here. But here this is again dxy, dyz and dzx. So these are orbital here which is d3 orbitals, and here dxy, dyz and dzx, and the symbol which is T2 here, and this is E here. So you have to understand that this is again the barycenter here, and you can calculate the CFSE. The value of this which is actually this is plus 0.4, and here the value is minus 0.6 delta naught. So plus 0.4 delta T this is, because it is a tetrahedral. So that is delta T here. So here also you can calculate the CFSE, that is CFSE, which is equal to 0.4, that is whatever the upside, upper electrons. So that is 0.4 into T2 electrons. So T2 electron minus 0.6 into E electron. So whatever the E orbital electron. So finally you will get the CFSE value here. So I don't want to tell you much about the calculation part of the CFSE, because CFSE values you have already studied in your earlier classes, because we are studying the kinetic stability of a particular complex here. So the kinetic stability actually it is nothing but the stability of the complex which can be increased by the CFSE value. CFSE value పెరిగితే దాని స్టెబిలిటీ పెరుగుతుంది. సో కైనెటికల్లీ అది స్టేబుల్ గా ఉంటుంది. సో కైనెటికల్లీ స్టేబుల్ గా ఉంది అంటే దట్ మీన్ దట్ so it will completely it is inert, so it will never undergo the substitution reaction. So if let us write Ml6, so if it is reacting with Y another ligand, so you will get like this Ml5Y and the ligand. So this ligand, this Y is substituting over this particular ligand. So here if it is a stable, if it is kinetically stable, then reaction it will never occur here. So how can we say this is particularly stable? By using the CFSE value. If CFSE value is increased, then stability increases. The stability is increased, then it will become inert. Inertness increase, then the reaction will never occurs here. So reaction, you will not get the reaction here. So later I will show you the values of the CFSE value for certain certain electronic configuration here. So see here, this is the crystal field splitting diagram for the octahedral and the tetrahedral. So you can see here. So this is the first, actually this is the octahedral. This is the octahedral. So this is for the octahedral and this is for the tetrahedral. Dx square y square and dz square. But here dxy, yz and dzx. But here also dxy, yz, yzx and dx square y square, tz square. The difference is the Eg which is higher. Eg repulsion ఎక్కువైంది కాబట్టి పైకి వెళ్ళింది. అదే E2 orbitals కిందికి వచ్చినాయి. So what is the reason here? So I will show you the reasons also here. So you can see the diagram of this. So see the diagram of this, you can easily understand this. So here one thing you have to remember that, so here the ligands, so whatever the ligands here, so ligand is coming like this. So here the particular whatever the orbitals, so this F is a ligand here. So here the axis, the lobes are completely along the axis. So the along the axis which are dxy, dx square y square and dz square. So these two are completely along the axis. Even the ligand is coming along the axis, hence the repulsion is higher in case of the octahedral. Let us take in case of the tetrahedral. So if you draw the particular tetrahedral, the axis here, you will get the crystal, you will get the axis, the coordinate axis, that is x, y, z. You will get like this. This is x axis, and you will get y axis, and this is a z axis. So you will get completely different way, because the ligands are completely approaching to the metal in between the axis here in case of the tetrahedral. So you can see here in case of the octahedral, the axis will be like this. So I will show you the dxy and yz here. So the x square y square, the orbital will be like this, and even the ligand is coming along the axis like this in case of the octahedral. But in case of the tetrahedral, the axis actually you can draw the axis will be like this. Axis అనేది ఇలా ఉంటుంది. బట్ లిగాండ్స్ ఎలా వస్తున్నాయి, యాక్సిస్ నుంచి వస్తలేవు, ఇన్ బిట్వీన్ ద యాక్సిస్ వస్తున్నాయి. సో ఇన్ బిట్వీన్ మళ్ళీ ఏమున్నాయి, dxy, yz, dzx ఆర్బిటల్స్ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి they will show with high repulsion. So whatever the orbital which is present along the axis, they will show with less repulsion. So that is in case of the tetrahedral. So you can calculate the CFSE for the tetrahedral and the octahedral. So these are the calculations for the octahedral values here. So see the octahedral values here. So if it is D1, you will get the value which is minus 0.4 delta naught. So what is here high spin and low spin? High spin is nothing but this is a weak field complex and this is the strong field complex. So if it is weak field, it follows Hund's rule. It follows Hund's rule. If it is low spin, that is strong field, it doesn't follow Hund's rule. It cannot follow Hund's rule. So I will show you the calculation of CFSE values here. So let us take one example here. So here the high spin and the low spin. So let us take only for the octahedral complex. So that is these two are the EG orbital and these three are the T2G orbital. This is EG orbital and this is T2G orbital here. So see what happens here. So let us take D1 here, D1. So one electron, so if it is high spin, so let us take it, if it is a high spin, what happens? So high spin means that is the ligand which is completely weak field here, like water molecule and like halogens here, like fluorine, chlorine, they are the weak field ligand. So in case of the weak field, the electron will follows, the electron filling, the electronic configuration will follows according to Hund's rule. That means one electron will enter into like this. So how can you calculate the CFSE value? Here the CFSE, which is equal to 0.6 into electrons of Eg minus 0.4 into electrons of T2G here. So here the CFSE value here, CFSE, that is 0.6 into 0. There is no electrons in Eg orbital here. So there is no electrons in Eg orbital. So that is 0 minus 0.4 into 1 electron which is present in the Eg orbital. So you will get 0 minus 0.4, you will get minus 0.4. So see here minus 0.4 delta naught. If it is low spin, that is if it is a strong field complex, so that is cyanide. Even you can take carbonyl, that is CO, carbon monoxide, and even with cyanide. So if it is a strong field ligand, so even up to D3 completely there is no difference here. You will get exact electronic configuration in case of the octahedral complex here. So these are all the example for this. So you can see I'm telling you here for the D1, D2, D3, there is no difference. Even with high spin and low spin, you will get the values exactly equal here. So you will get exactly value. This is minus 4 delta naught. You can write this is 4 dq. You can write here that is minus dq. This is, you can write this as a 12 dq like this. So exactly D1, D2, D3, there is no difference with high spin and low spin. Even with D8, D9, D10. So there is no difference between this high spin and low spin. But here the difference is only with the D4, D5, D6. So why? What is the reason here? So what is the reason here? So I will tell you exactly the reason for this. So let us take here. So let us understand here first. So that is, so first here D4. Let us take first D4 here. So D4 here. D4. EG orbital and these are the T2G orbitals here. So you have to fill with the you have to fill with the 4 electrons, that is D4. So let us take it is a high spin first. High spin means that is weak field complex, weak field ligand. So that is water molecule. You can take like this. According to Hund's rule, the electron will fill like this. 1, 2, 3. Then the fourth electron will enter into the EG orbital like this. It cannot enter in this. Because Hund's rule, it will explain you no two electrons can enter into an electron at the same time. So what energy first కంటే ఇక్కడ కంటే సో అక్కడ ఫస్ట్ వెళ్ళాలి, ఇక్కడ ఎనర్జీ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత అక్కడికి వెళ్తుంది, సో అక్కడ కూడా అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ కిందికి వస్తుంది ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ Hund's rule. బట్ హియర్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ Hund's ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫాలోయింగ్ Hund's rule. సో అందుకే ఒక ఎలక్ట్రాన్ అక్కడ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో యూ కెన్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ దిస్. ఇప్పుడు సిఎఫ్ఎస్సి క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేస్తే సిఎఫ్ఎస్సి దట్ ఈస్ 0.6 into 1 electron which is present in the EG orbital minus 1, 0.4 into 3 electrons are present in T2G orbital. This is T2G orbital and this is EG orbital. So you will get the value that is 0.6 minus 1.2 here. So okay, you will get 0.6 minus 1.2, you will get minus 0.6 delta naught, or you can say minus 6 dq here. So see here the value we are getting like this. So that is minus 0.6 delta naught. And let us say in case of the low spin. So in case of the low spin, what happens here? So low spin, which is completely different here. So you will get the fourth electron actually if it is low spin. So if it is low spin, what happens here? So if it is low spin, that is strong field ligand, that is like cyanide and CO. So the fourth electron will enter into here. The fourth electron will enter only here because it is completely against Hund's rule. So this is low spin, that is against Hund's rule. It doesn't follow Hund's rule. The fourth electron will enter here only, T2G orbital only. So that you can write the CFSE calculation. So you can calculate the CFSE value. So how can you calculate the CFSE value here? So 0.6 into, so see here. So 0.6 into, so the EG orbital, EG there is no electron, that is 0. And in case of the T2G orbital, that is 0.4 into 4, because 4 electrons are present in the T2G orbital, that is 0 minus 4 into 4, that is 0.4 into 4, you will get 1.6. So that is 1.6. So you will get minus 1.6 minus 1.6, or you can write 16 dq. So that is the CFSE calculation for the low spin in case of the D4. The example are simply Cr plus 2 and Mn plus 3. So you can easily understand this. So if it is high spin, that is simply the water molecule or fluorine, bromine like this. If it is low spin, the ligands are mostly the cyanide, CO, like this, the strong field ligand. And you can also calculate for all these things, that is D5, D6, D7, even D7. You can calculate everything here. So for the D7, let us calculate D7 here. D7 here. D7. So CFSE for the D7 here. Let us take first high spin. High spin. So in case of the high spin here, so in case of the high spin, what happens? So that is, it is a weak field ligand. So it follows Hund's rule. That is water molecular ligand, whatever the chlorine, fluorine, bromine like this. So D7. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6, 7. The electrons will enter into like this. Again, CFSE values here. So you can calculate, that is 0.6 into EG orbital, EG electron, that this is the EG electron, that is only 2, minus 0.4 into, there are 5 electrons are there. So you will get the value, that is 0.6 into 2, that is 1.2, minus 0.4 into 5, that is 2.0, you will get minus 0.8. So see here, minus 0.8. So this is the CFSE calculation for the high spin with D7. So if it is low spin, so if it is low spin, what happens here? So if it is low spin here, what happens here? What is the difference here? So what is the difference here if it is low spin here? If it is low spin here, what happens? So if it is low spin, see here. So that is low spin, that is very strong field ligand. Strong field, that is cyanide, whatever may be, it doesn't follow Hund's rule. The 7 electrons, they will fill like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, then 7. So you can calculate the CFSE, that is 0.6 into 1 electron in EG orbital, and there are 6 electrons in EG orbital, the T2G orbital, that is 0.6 minus 2.4 minus, that is 0.4 into 6, that is 2.4. So you will get the value which is minus 1.8 delta naught, or you can say minus 18 dq. So in this way we can calculate the CFSE values here. So this is the calculation, the CFSE calculation for the octahedral complexes, even for the high spin complexes, and also for the low spin complexes. So I told you completely about the CFSE calculation for the octahedral complexes with a low spin and high spin complexes. Now let us understand again. So let us understand the kinetic stability by using this CFSE value here. By using this CFSE value, we have to uh, we have to we have to know about the stability of the particular complex with this CFSE calculation. So simply I will tell you one thing. So the CFSE value, it is directly proportional to stability of a complex. Here the word in the sense crystal field stabilizing energy. If the CFSE value increases, then the stability will increase. If the CFSE value increases, then the stability increases here. So the CFSE value increases, stability increases. So it means that, so I will tell you exactly here. So moreover, most of the complexes that is CFSE value, if the value which is greater than 12 dq, or you can write minus 0 point, this is minus 12 dq or minus 1.2. So not 0 point, minus 1.2 delta naught. Here also the CFSE value which is greater than 12, that means which is less than 12 dq, that is minus 12 dq, or you can say minus 1.2 delta naught. So that is, they are stable complexes, and they are unstable complexes here. They are unstable here. So you have to understand that the CFSE, if the CFSE value increases, then the stability increases. See here. So you remember that you don't have to consider this negative charge. So remember that you don't have to consider this negative charge. Negative charge is only, it is a symbol here. It is simply a symbol. So because, so you have to understand this thing here. The higher the CFSE value, even with the higher the negatively charged CFSE value, that will give the stabilizing energy here. So here let us take Ti plus 3 and let us take nickel plus 2. So I will take, let us take one simple example. So I will take this nickel. I am writing this H2O taken 6 plus 2. CO NS3. So 6 plus 2. So see here, which one is more stable now? Which one is more stable here in case of these two here? So which one is more stable here? How can we know that? So very simple. Here this nickel which is in plus 2 here. Here this cobalt which is in plus 2 here. So see here, which is oxidation state plus 2 and here also plus 2. And here this is, so you have to understand that. So this is particularly this H2O which is a weak field ligand. So this, see here, the nickel plus 2 which is actually D8. So actually there is no difference between the high spin and the low spin in case of the D8. So there is no difference between the low spin and high spin. So you will get the value which is minus 1.2. So minus 1.2 for this nickel complex. So you will get, even though if it is weak field or strong field, you will get minus 1.2 delta naught. But what about the CO plus 2? What about the CO plus 2 here? The CO you can see here. So let us write this is CO plus 3. Let us write this is CO plus 3. So what is the CO plus 3 here? So whenever it is a CO plus 3, this ammonia actually it is a strong field ligand. It is a strong field ligand for the cobalt here. So the CO plus 3 here. See here, you can take CO plus 2 because see here CO plus 2 which is a D7. If it is CO plus 3, then it is a D6 here. So it is a D6 here. That is D6 here. So it is a D6 with a high spin complex. So high spin, so you will get the value which is minus 0.4 here. It is a minus 0.4. It is minus 1.2 here. So this is higher here. That means the stability of this complex is more than this particular complex. So in this way, I can easily get the stability of a particular complex. So let us take some examples so you can easily understand them. So not only this, let us take some certain example. So let us take Cr H2O taken 6 plus 2. And I will take manganese H2O again plus 2. So Cr H2O6 and Mn H2O6. So see here. So what happens here? Cr, what is the charge of this chromium here? Again plus 2 and plus 2 here also. And both are H2O, H2O. So both are weak field. So this is a weak field, nothing but high spin complex. So here Cr plus 2 which is D4 and Mn plus 2 which is D5. So that you will get the value which is minus 0.6 and which is 0. So which one is here higher here? So here the higher the value which is 0.6 comparing with 0.0. So that means the first complex and this is the second complex. The first complex is more stable than the second complex. So that means it is more stable. That means it is inert. It cannot interact with any other ligand to undergo substitution reaction here. So it is stable, that means it is inert here. So let us understand many such examples. So you can take many such example like nickel, or you can take again nickel Cl4 minus 2. So this is one of the complex. And let us take any other complex like manganese water molecule. I will take 6 and I will take plus 2 here. So nickel, if it is plus 2, nickel with plus 2 here. So nickel with plus 2, manganese plus 2. And this is actually this is weak field complex and this is also weak field complex. And see here, so nickel plus 2 with weak field. So you will get the value which is minus 1.2 delta naught. But here with Mn plus 2 with weak field, you will get 0. So which one is higher? That is this minus 1.2. Remember that don't consider this negative charge. Simply it is a symbol. It is just a sign. So you have to see the only the value which is minus 1.2. So this is more stable comparing with this. So this is more stable. It means it is highly inert. It is highly inert. So nickel Cl4. So it is unreactive towards the nucleophilic substitution reaction. But here in case of this is a labile complex. It can easily interact with any other ligand for the substitution reaction. So let us take many other such example. So let us take simple that example Fe. So Fe Fe, let us take it is plus 3. Hmm. Okay. So let us take again with Cr. Cr H2O 6 plus 2. Which one is here more stable here? So very simple. Fe H2O6 which is plus 3 here. So this is nothing but Fe which is in plus 3 oxidation state. Here plus 2 oxidation state. And this is a weak field, that is high spin complex. And here also this is a weak field and this is also high spin complex. The value for this Fe plus 3 in weak field, Fe plus 3 in weak field, that is high spin complex, you will get the value. This is completely 0. But in case of the Cr plus 2 with weak field, you will get minus 0.6. So that is this is more stable. This is that means it is inert. And this is labile. So this is the CFSE calculation for the octahedral complex. So by using this CFSE, I can explain the stability of a particular complex here. So this is the kinetic stability by using the CFSE or crystal field stabilizing energy. Now let us recapitulate all those things. So that you can easily understand them. So the thermodynamic stability and the kinetic stability by using. So see here. So here the stability is again two types. Here the stability is with two types. One is thermodynamic thermodynamic, another one which is kinetic here. And this is completely it explained before the formation of the complex. So that is, you can take metal, if it is reacting with 6 ligand, you will get Ml6. So it will explain the formation of the complex. But here, in case of the kinetic stability, it is completely explained after the formation of the complex. Ml6, if it is reacting with Y, you will get Ml5Y plus another ligand. So this kinetic stability explain the reactivity of this particular complex, but it will explain the formation of the complex. So here it may be stable or unstable. It may be stable or unstable. So kinetic also, it may be stable or unstable. So kinetically it may be stable or unstable. So the main difference is that, so here the thermodynamically stable, that means that whatever the product which is you are getting very high yield, బాగా ఎక్కువగా వస్తుంది, the product which is very high, ఎంత ఎక్కువగా వస్తుంది, so which is with very high yield of product, high yield of product formation here. So product ఎక్కువ ఫార్మ్ అవుతుంది, that is here low formation of product, low formation of product here, ఇక్కడ తక్కువ ఫార్మ్ అవుతుంది. So this thermodynamic stability and unstability, it can be decided with the energy of the product. So energy of the product is very low, then it is stable here. So low energy for the stable product. So for the unstable product, the energy is very high. Energy is high. So for the unstable product here, so unstable complex అయితే then energy అనేది ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. So based on the energy, we can say it is a thermodynamically stable or unstable. In case of the kinetic stability, the stable is nothing but it is a inert complex. It is a particularly it is a inert here. So stable is nothing but it is a inert, and unstable means it is labile. It means that inert means it will never undergo the nucleophilic substitution reaction. So if it is stable, this Ml6 is stable, it means that it will never interact with Y and you will not get the product. So if it is unstable, it is a labile, it can easily free to move and it can easily interact with Y and you will get the product. So that is the stable or unstable in case of the kinetic stability. So here it can be decided with the activation energy here. So how can we decide here? So if the activation energy is very high, if the activation energy is very high, that means that it is a stable here. So because the activation energy is nothing but energy required to break the bond here. So if the energy required to break this particular bond, if it is very high, that means it cannot interact with Y here. So if the interactions of metal and the ligand is very high, that means that the energy required to break this particular bond which is very high, that is called the activation energy. So activation energy ఎక్కువగా ఉంటే that is stable అన్నట్టు, ఇక్కడ unstable activation energy ఇక్కడ లోగా ఉన్నట్టు. But we can decide with the stability and the instability, inert and labile, even with the VBT theory and the CFT theory. CFT theory అయితే, if it is low CFSE value, if it is high CFSE value, CFSE value ఎక్కువ ఉంటే స్టెబిలిటీ పెరిగిపోతుంది. సో యాక్టివేషన్ ఎనర్జీ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది, even with CFSE value must be very high. But in case of here also, the CFSE value must be very low here. In case of this CFSE value which is very low here. So I'm telling you conditions for the stability and the instability of a complex, that is kinetic stability and the thermodynamic stability. Here the CFSE value which is very high, but here the CFSE value which is very low according to CFT theory. And according to VBT, nothing but very simple, that is low spin complexes and high spin complexes. And actually the VBT theory, so moreover most of the time VBT theory it fails to explain the stability of a particular complex. So hence moreover we can understand the kinetic stability by using the activation energy and the CFSE value. So this is the complete picture of a stability of a metal complexes here. So remember that the thermodynamic stability is explain the extent of the formation of the reaction, but kinetic stability it explains the reactivity of a particular complex here. So the kinetic stability is explained with the activation energy and the CFSE values, but the thermodynamic stability it explained with the Gibbs free energy of a particular complex.